New Orleans Saints tight end Oscar Delp is the biggest hidden gem of the New Orleans Saints 2026 draft class.
You are Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? I am your host, your friend, Ross Jackson. And on today's episode, we'll take a look at two UDFAs that have a chance to impress because of their versatility during rookie minicamp, while all eyes will be on Bryce Lance, the Saints' other hidden gem in this year's draft class. We're going to kick off with hidden gem number one in this draft class, and that is Georgia tight end Oscar Delp, and why we're so excited to see him on the field during rookie minicamp. We got all of that and a little bit of lanyap for you on today's episode. So let's get into it. I genuinely believe, while I think that Bryce Lance, the North Dakota State University wide receiver, was a steal in this year's draft class, I think in the third round, Oscar Delp out of Georgia is going to be the hidden gem of this year's draft class. Let me explain the difference between the two for me. For me, you look at Bryce Lance, the reason why I consider him a steal is because it's obvious that he has potential. 1,000 receiving yards in the last two seasons, 25 total receiving touchdowns over the course of his time with the Bison. But when it comes to Oscar Delp, there's some hidden elements, some untapped potential to his game that I think make him a hidden gem as opposed to just a steal, getting him in the third round at pick number 73 overall. It is my understanding that the Saints are actually considering both him and Christian Miller at 42, then to be able to walk away with both of those guys in the second and third rounds in day two. Massive win for New Orleans in that case. And Oscar Delp, we've talked about before on this show, brings a ton of athleticism to the field. 4.49, 40-yard dash, 38-inch vertical, great broad jump, so you see speed and explosion. But I think beyond just those things, right? Everyone, actually it was talked about on Tyrann Mathieu' show not so long ago. Everyone talks about speed, but how about the athleticism? How about the ability to create plays? And while Oscar Delp had, 20 receptions for like 260 receiving yards and a touchdown in 2025, him coming over to Kellen Moore's offense is going to unlock a whole other element to his game. You can see the ability to pick up yards after catch. You can see the ability to go up and win as well at 6'4", 6'5", 240, 250 pounds, whatever it is that he ends up playing at in 2026, because he'll weigh in at one weight at the combine, and that's forever going to be his designated weight, probably over the course of his career in terms of what NFL teams list. But the weight that he actually plays at might be slightly different. So he might play heavier. He might play a little bit lighter. I don't think you're playing lighter than 240, but you can certainly play heavier than 240 or lighter than 250 and still be a very effective tight end in this New Orleans Saints offense. I think the thing that's so intriguing about him is that he has an immediacy in terms of his ability to be able to impact this football game, or the football game for New Orleans. And so his ability to be comfortable with the blocking schemes because of how much he was asked to block during his time at Georgia, I think will get him snaps on the field as early as 2026, his rookie season. And then if you're able to start utilizing him not just as a pass protector or a run protector, but also as a pass catcher, which I very much expect Kellen Moore to do in 2026, then all of a sudden you're disguising your offense a ton anytime you have this guy on the field, because it's not going to be a dead giveaway. Oh, Oscar Delp's on, this is going to be a passing play. Oh, Oscar Delp's on, this is going to be a run play, because you're going to be able to do both with this player. And so I think that that is one of the reasons why I think of him as a hidden gem. What I'm so excited to see throughout rookie minicamp, even though, and it's worth reminding everyone that there is no contact during rookie minicamp, there isn't even typically offense versus defense when it comes to rookie minicamps, or at least those early offseason workouts. We might see a little bit of kind of matchups and things like that. Maybe it's routes on air or whatever, but you're not going to see a ton of action over the course of rookie minicamp. And I think that the reason why I believe that that is important is because what we will get to focus on instead is, where is he lining up? Where is he running those routes on air from? Is he lined up in line? Is he in the slot? Is he offset? Is he outside the numbers? Is he out wide but inside the numbers? Even if there's no offensive line, we're going to be able to pick that out just based on where, they lay out like this kind of black not tarp, but this kind of black rubber line across the field. And on that, it has in yellow print, C for center, G for guards, T for tackles, or whatever it is that it says. And so you get an idea of where the ball is being snapped. If the C is over the hash mark, for instance, and Oscar Delp is lined up inside or just outside the hash marks, or just inside the numbers rather, that could very well be close to being in line, depending upon how close he is to that kind of red or black line that's out on the field. So we'll get an idea of like, what do the splits look like? And what are the routes that he's running? Now, we're not going to be able to detail those or anything, but, we can say whether or not he's running like a lot of, big, deep down the field catch, right? Oh, nice catch in the short intermediate area, right? Diving catch in the middle of the field, things like that. Like, we'll have some things that will be good takeaways in terms of all the different ways that they're deploying them, utilizing them, the routes that he's running, what areas of the field he's attacking more specifically. Not really going to get into like, oh, he ran a post, he ran a slant, all these other things, but being able to get into things like vertical or in the middle of the field or, short, intermediate, deep usage, all those other things. We'll be able to get into some of that as well. And then the versatility of his alignments. I'm also super interested, and I don't know how early the Saints are going to start like running people in motion, but is Oscar Delp a player that we're going to see be a big time part of the motion game for New Orleans? It certainly makes sense. He ran a lot of that in Georgia, whether it was split zone motion after the snap or whether it was just him moving from one side of the other line. We did see him move around a little bit, even in that Georgia usage. And then you have a Kellen Moore usage, which uses a lot of motion. Now you have this sort of chess piece tight end, not a Taysom Hill level chess piece tight end, but you have a chess piece tight end that you can move around. You can start him in line and then motion him out to the slot. You can start him out wide and then motion him in line and then run behind him, right? And it gives you an idea, okay, are they in man? Are they playing heavy? Like who's lined up against him when he's on the outside? Is it a safety that carried him over? Is it a corner that's just lined up out there in zone coverage? Is it a linebacker that's in man coverage on him in terms of an assignment? And that's going to give you some really good indicators for Tyler Shuck. And you might even get into a pre-snap check. I'm getting a little bit further than rookie minicamp here, but these are the building blocks that you get. You might get into a pre-snap check to where, hey, the play is designed for Oscar Delp to line up out wide and then motion in line. However, if there's a linebacker covering him on the perimeter, snap the ball and let him get vertical, right? Like there's some of those fun things you're going to be able to do in terms of your ability to diagnose a defense with your disguise. And even though it might start off as a disguise, lining up out wide and planning to move him inside, you can utilize him still on the outside and say, no, don't motion in, stay out there. We got the matchup that we like. Let's go and get it. And so they can have that kind of attitude around the way that they approach his game. And so that's why I think he's a hidden gem for the New Orleans Saints. There's so many different ways you're going to be able to utilize him. You're going to learn so much about the defense by lining him up in a bunch of different places. And you're going to be able to create so much confusion by moving him around and utilizing him in a bunch of different ways that will help to disguise your offense. So for me, this is absolutely a big time hidden gem for the New Orleans Saints that I think can have a pretty immediate impact in New Orleans. And I think he's one of the players that we're most looking forward to seeing out at rookie minicamp later on this week. Coming up next, North Dakota State University wide receiver Bryce Lance is another one that we're very excited to see. Let me break down why, and a lot of it has to do with his speed, but he's not the only one. Let's get to that next as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Saints brought to you by our friends over at Rougiette. The NHL playoffs are underway, and one of the things that you'll notice is that it might be cold inside of a hockey arena, but the players still perform. So you want to make sure you're not able to use that as an excuse when it comes to you not performing as well. Well, that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette is going to help you out by giving you treatments that are designed to make sure that you get ready and stay ready when it matters the most. You got their top option, Rougiette Ready, which contains clinically proven ingredients in a simple mint that dissolves under your tongue, usually kicks in pretty fast within about 15 minutes or so, and can last with effects up to 36 hours so that you can, again, get ready and stay ready. So head over to Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off of your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL for 15% off. Rougiette, performance medicine for men. Family, the New Orleans Saints' biggest steal of the NFL draft might be North Dakota State University wide receiver Bryce Lance. And I think he is another one of the players that we are most excited to see on the field during rookie minicamp. And I think that his athleticism and speed are the thing that pique everyone's interest the most. This is a guy that combines athletic profile and production incredibly well. 6'3", 200 plus pounds, 4.34 speed, great athleticism, solid route running as well, good breakaway ability, and produced at a high level while in college. Again, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, as well as 25 total touchdown receptions over the course of his career with the North Dakota State University Bison. We're going to be talking more about him, film studies, things like that over on our Everydayer Club. If you want to go and check that out, you can head over to lockedonsaints.supercast.com or click the link in the description to learn more. Those will come in a couple of weeks, though. So I'm going to keep telling you about the Everydayer program. But if you want to wait until a couple of weeks, I'll let you know when the film studies drop. The thing that I'm most looking forward to when it comes to Bryce Lance is that speed, right? And that's undeniable, right? He is a fast, athletic, very, very impressive mover, both without the football in terms of getting open, creating separation, all those things, but also even with the football in his hand. So he's going to be another one that's going to be very interesting to see where it is that he ends up being deployed. Does he play from the slot? Does he line up out wide? Does he do a little bit of everything? And really what you're hoping for, I would say, is for him to be doing a little bit of everything. You want him and Devon Vele to effectively be interchangeable, right? You want those guys to be able to be on the field or off the field and complement Jordan Tyson as well as Chris Olave. And by the way, of course, we're very excited to see Jordan Tyson on the football field as well. I don't know if he's going to be ready if they're going to have him on the field at rookie minicamp, if I'm being entirely honest. My understanding is that he's ready to go, but the Saints might say, hey, not rookie minicamp, bro. Like, don't worry about it. And even if he is out there, maybe it's a little bit limited, whatever it might be. I don't think that's a bad thing. That's your number 8 overall, top 10 wide receiver. You keep that dude on ice for as long as you can, just to make sure everything's good, right? Put him through your programs, make sure that he's good, make sure that he's hitting all the goals that you want him to hit, make sure he's hitting the goals that he wants to hit, which he was very upfront about during his post-draft Zoom press conference with the local media. This is a player that you want to covet and not overwork for like rookie minicamp. Like when Tyler Shuck's not even going to be on the field throwing on the football. When Spencer Rattler's not even going to be on the field throwing on the football, right? Since you're going to have 2 UDFA quarterbacks throwing the football during this. Because if you have a vested year in the NFL, meaning that if you've played more than a certain amount of games, I think it's like 7 or 8, maybe 6 or 7. But if you play enough games, you're not allowed to participate in rookie minicamp. It's why Spencer Rattler last year was not able to participate in rookie minicamp because he played and started and appeared in too many games over the course of his rookie season. So he had a vested year. And so because of that, we didn't get to see Spencer Rattler out there throwing the football, but we did get to see Tyler Shuck. And then who did they bring in? Oh, Hunter Deckers, right? Yeah, it was the year before that was Kellen Mond, but they had Hunter Deckers as well, who I still expect to be back after the UFL season, by the way. I haven't heard any difference in all of that. But, Tyler Shuck's not even going to be out there throwing the football. And so the thing that's going to be really exciting to see because of that is, and this is no shade at the other passers that are going to be there, but these are UDFA passers that are coming from smaller schools. What's the accuracy like? And if the accuracy isn't on point, what do we see from Bryce Lance in terms of going out there and making catches outside of his frame? I think that's going to be the other big thing that I cannot wait to see when it comes to Bryce Lance is, can you operate outside of comfort, right? Everyone's going to look down on Bryce Lance a little bit. Not everyone, like not in New Orleans, right? And not Saints fans, but people outside of that who are looking from an outside perspective with, making assumptions and things like that. There's going to be an assumption that because he's coming from North Dakota State University, that things have to be perfect in order for him to pan out. So I want to see him go out there and make some imperfect catches. Let those quarterbacks go out there and be a little inaccurate, especially early on in the first day when they're getting settled and they're trying to get the nerves out and all those other things. Like being able to do all of those things, I think is going to be able to put a guy like Bryce Lance in position to go out there and make some plays that make him look really, really good, because maybe the quarterbacks at rookie minicamp aren't as accurate as a Tyler Shuck. So can you go and make those plays out of your frame? Can you go and make those leaping catches, right? If we do get any level of matchup or anything like that, can you go and make some of those catches over the top of some of the people that are trying to stop you from that? Even with coaches putting their hands up and, doing the things that they have to do to try to make things more complicated for you as well. So really, really excited to see what Bryce Lance is going to be able to bring, both from an alignment standpoint in terms of where he lines up before the snap, how he's utilized, and if he's able to make some of those maybe uncomfortable catches, right? Go out there and get outside of your frame a little bit. Another player at the same position that I'm sure, going to be keeping our eyes out on big time is going to be wide receiver Barion Brown, LSU, Kentucky. I know that everything around Barion Brown is what he can do for you as a kick returner. And to be fair, that's going to be his most immediate impact coming into the NFL. Can you make it as a special teamer in the league, the way that you excelled as a kick returner and a gunner too, from my understanding as well? When you excelled in the special teams role in college, can you translate that over to the NFL? We're not going to see like kick returns and certainly not anything meaningful when it comes to kick returns. But what we will be able to see is, how does he get involved on offense? Same thing. Where does he line up? How do you utilize him? Is he more of a slot guy because of that speed? And I know that he ran a 4.40 in terms of his speed at the combine, but if you watch the game tape, he moves so much faster on the field, making plays with the ball in his hands, running routes, all of those things. And so finding out all the different ways that they maybe look to utilize him. Like, is he really kind of an underneath guy that they're working in the short area, knowing that he has the ability to go and pick up yards after catch for you as he crosses the field and all of those pieces. And so I'm super, super interested to see how Barion Brown is used. And the other thing that we're going to kind of see in the midst of this too is, okay, you might have some veterans coming to try out, for instance, right? We saw this, what was it, last year? It was either last year or the year before, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think that was last year. Donovan Peoples-Jones came in, was working with the team during rookie minicamp, ended up signing with the team during training camp. And when you have a veteran like that, does the veteran jump the rookies in terms of the order in which they're running these routes, which gives you a little bit of an idea of how the depth chart is viewed? Early depth chart, it of course won't include guys like Chris Olave and Devon Vele and Trey Palmer and Jalen Polk, guys that are looking to come back from injury and all that. But do you get the opportunity to see, okay, yeah, they have this veteran wide receiver here, but man, Barion Brown's actually ahead of him. Little things like that, you can still pick some nuggets from, just in terms of like the trust and the way that they're utilizing these players. And it makes sense if you put the draft picks ahead of the guys that are trying out. Makes a ton of sense. But it'll be interesting to see if maybe those veterans end up leaping somebody, right? That's the part that'll teach us something. So where is he in the lineup? Where is he in the alignment? How is he utilized on offense? Because we know what he's going to bring on the special team side. That is what makes Barion Brown so interesting to watch during rookie minicamp. Coming up next, two UDFAs that have an ability to make an impact from multiple spots on the field. And of course, one more name that we're watching at rookie minicamp. Let's get to that next as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so this is an opportunity maybe for me to share a little bit of my personal story with you. You know, we're out here on this Locked On retreat right now, and a lot of us were kind of sitting around and having conversations, sharing some things, all that. And it was really, impactful for me to hear how many other people around me were also leaning into therapy and utilizing that as an opportunity to maybe give themselves the tools to handle big emotions, maybe helping them get over something like loss, grief, all those things. I've used therapy and especially BetterHelp because it's so convenient. I can do it from home. I don't have to sit at a waiting room. I don't have to drive in traffic and all that kind of stuff. You know, New Orleans traffic sometimes is not the greatest. And so being able to find a convenient way to be able to help myself and kind of, take my gym to the brain in a way has been super helpful for me. I think it'd be helpful for you as well. So sign up today over at betterhelp.com/lockedon. You'll get 10% off. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/lockedon. I promise you won't regret it. Let's get it, Who Dat Nation. The New Orleans Saints have two impressive UDFAs because of their versatility, and one more UDFA that I'm also excited to see during rookie minicamp. We appreciate you very much, as always, making us your first listen and being it every day or here on the show. For your second listen today, make sure you go and check out Locked On Pelicans, all the latest on the Pelicans coaching search with our good friend Jake Madison, who's part of the #1 sports podcast network here at the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. One of the undrafted free agents that I'm really looking forward to seeing on Friday and Saturday as minicamps get started, rookie minicamps get started, is Southern Illinois cornerback Jeremiah McClendon. This is not a guy that I've talked about very much. 6 foot, 185 pounds, had 14 pass breakups last year and 12 games played in 2025. Also had a pair of interceptions, but it was the other stuff that he did beyond that. 59 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovered. I'm very curious to see how McClendon and his versatility show up during rookie minicamp. Now, again, what we see in rookie minicamp is very limited. I'm going to keep reminding everyone of that because, I'm not going to come back out here on Friday and be like, yo, he got like mad interceptions and like all this stuff, right? Like that's not going to happen on Friday. And if it does, dope, great, fun. You know what I mean? We get to have a fun show that way. However, not likely that we get to see all that. But what we do get to see, again, has to do with where he lines up on the defensive side. I think McClendon could be, and look, his path is probably practice squad, right? So when I talk about these UDFAs and I talk about them with kind of like, hey, here are the things that they do really well, it's because those are the things that give them the best chance to make the roster. If I sat here for 30 minutes and told you about all the things that the UDFAs are bad at and that you shouldn't care about them, what good is that to you, right? What you want to know is, hey, what's the thing that can help this guy? And one of the things that could absolutely help Jeremiah McClendon is that versatility and his ability to be able to have an eclectic or varied impact on the football and on the defensive side of the football. And so him getting his chance, maybe show a little bit of that versatility as early as possible would be in his best interest. Because if you can show, hey, I can contribute on special teams, I know what I'm doing on that side, but also you can play me outside, you can play me in the slot, you can line me up on the line, you can pull me off, like you can have me as a dime, corner, all these other things. That just maximizes your ability to be able to make it with a team. And when I say make it with a team, I don't always mean 53-man roster. That, of course, would include that 16-man practice squad, which is going to be back to being 16 in 2026 for New Orleans instead of 17 like it was over the course of the last couple of years, because the Charlie Smith acquisition would no longer have him on the practice squad, right? Because he's probably your starting kicker going into 2026. And so you don't get that international player exemption on the practice squad in that case. So Jeremiah McClendon, real opportunity to push a guy like Dallas Beanham, a safety like Elliott Davison, who, no shade against those guys at all, but like when you're the incumbent or returning undrafted free agent, you're looking at that crop of undrafted free agents and you're like, hey, yo, I did this. Maybe they could do this. I got to protect my neck a little bit. And so that's where a lot of this competition, I think, is going to be really, really good for New Orleans. As we highlighted in yesterday's episode at the top of the cornerback room with the addition of Martin Emerson, you're also looking at the depth and the way that the competition there makes that room even better as well. So Jeremiah McClendon out of Southern Illinois, a corner that I'm very, very excited to see just because of the versatility. How is he utilized? All those other things. And then we'll get a chance to talk to him as well. And when we get a chance to talk to him after rookie minis, that gives us a chance to ask, like, hey, what's the vision for you? What did they talk to you about? Why did you choose here? Like, what was the role that stood out to you? All those things. So we'll kind of be able to get into a little bit of that. Another player that has drawn mad controversy in terms of players that I think could move the needle for themselves is running back C.J. Donaldson. Now, you're going to notice I'm leaving a lot of the trench players out. Like, am I interested in seeing defensive tackle Xavier Harris, 1,000%, because I want to see how big this dude is, right? But that's really the most we're going to see. We're not going to see the offensive line going up against the defensive line. Like, we're not going to see that kind of stuff. Now, we might be able to see a little bit of his movement ability. We might be able to see a little bit of the effort stuff. We're certainly going to see the size, but we're not really going to be able to evaluate his play or usage. We will be able to evaluate the play and usage of a guy like C.J. Donaldson, not from the running side of things. It's actually the receiving side that I'm most interested in seeing. When C.J. Donaldson started with West Virginia and the Mountaineers, he was actually listed as a tight end. Even though the coaches knew they were going to use him as kind of in this kind of versatile backfield role, he was listed as a tight end. And even though he only had like 80 something carries that season, he had 8 rushing touchdowns. A lot of short yardage work for him and things like that. We know that. But also had like 9 receptions that year. And when you look at how he performed over the course of his time with the Ohio State Buckeyes too, he was also utilized in the passing game, finding the end zone that way as well. And so I'm very intrigued to see the ball tracking that you can see from him on tape, the body control that you can see from him on tape, the good hands that you can see from him on tape. At 6'2", 236 pounds, you're usually looking at a guy like that as a downhill, north-south, short yardage rusher, right? A guy that you use on like 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, 3rd and goal, things like that, right? Third and short, well, 3rd and threatening, you know what I'm talking about? Like on the goal line offense. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks for helping me get there. You were all yelling at me. I heard you. And so being able to see that we're going to have to wait. That's going to be training camp stuff. That's going to be preseason stuff if we're being real, right? Actual competition. Yeah, the pads go on in training camp and everybody's like, yeah, we got the pads on now it's real. Sure. But then we get to the pads and then everybody goes, well, preseason. And then we get to the preseason and everybody goes, well, regular season. The goalpost is going to keep moving in terms of that conversation. So I'm not worried about seeing what he can do as a running back. I want to see what he's doing as a pass catcher out of the backfield and how he might be able to contribute there, because he's usually seen as this downhill short yardage guy, like we just said, but a guy of that build also being able to get out into the flat in space and then run down a corner. Yeah, I think you would take that bet for a guy his size, especially at 236, and his ability to be able to get downfield in that type of capacity as well. Last guy that I want to mention, and it's kicker Mason Shipley, coming out of Texas. We might get the opportunity to see a little bit of special teams just in terms of kicking, right? There's 2 fields in the outdoor portion of the Saints training facility. And so sometimes while they're working on stuff on one side of the field on offense, they might be working on stuff on the other side of the field on defense, but only on half the field in some of those cases. And then the other half of the field, you might have a kicker out there kicking. Shipley's going to bring a little bit of competition for Charlie Smith. And the Saints were intent. They were going to bring in competition there. There was a rumor out there that they were trying to get Trey Smack, the kicker from Florida. Don't any Georgia fans know that I just said that. No, I just mixed it up like that. But real chance here for Shipley to really get to the points where he is moving the needle for himself pretty early ahead of that competition with Charlie Smith. All right, family, time for a little bit of lanyap for the real ones. I made it to this point in the episode. A little something extra for you, right? You went and you ordered gumbo, but now I'm going to give you a couple of boudin balls as well. So let's take a look at the jersey numbers for the New Orleans Saints 2026 draft class. The Saints announced those numbers for the 8 players that they drafted. Jordan Tyson is wearing 0, as we previously reported. That's going to be super dope to have a wide receiver out there wearing 0. I love the aesthetic of that. That's pretty cool. So I love that for fans. And I think that jersey is going to sell. Like, that's going to be a selling jersey. Tyson 0. And then you also have Fears 0 over with the 0 Fears over with the Pelicans. Like, that's going to be pretty dope. So 0 for Jordan Tyson. Bryce Lance is taking number 18, formerly held by a bunch of different wide receivers, but the guy that always comes to mind for me when I look at 18 is Keith Kirkwood, nicest dude in the world. Dead giveaway when he was on the field that it was about to be a run play, but nicest dude in the world. That wasn't his fault. That was the Saints play calling. Barion Brown taking on number 19. That's pretty cool. Speedy LSU wideout, getting Devery Henderson, speedy LSU wideout's number. Pretty dope there. I love that. Then you get the 2 DB numbers that I've seen a lot of people complaining about. I bet that these end up getting changed by the time that they get to the active roster, right? When the roster cut downs start, and maybe some of those other positions or numbers open up. TJ Hall's got number 34, the former Kool-Aid McKinstry number. That was also his rookie year. And then he changed, and then he changed, and then he just changed again. He's going to be number 1 now this year. And then Lorenzo Styles Jr., out of Ohio State's getting number 36. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see either of those numbers change, especially 34. 34 usually goes to a corner coming in as a rookie and then almost always changes. But look, Mike McKenzie wore that number, if I remember correctly, and Mike McKenzie was fire. Christian Miller's taking number 52, so he keeps his collegiate number. Jeremiah Wright's taking number 65, great offensive line number. Oscar Delp's getting number 88. Great tight end number there as well. So love these. Cool that we got to see this. And then now we'll get to see them out on the field later on this week. All right, fam, on tomorrow's episode, why Tyler Shuck can go from Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate to Offensive Player of the Year candidate in 2026. Yeah. We're breaking it down. We got that for you on tomorrow's show. We appreciate you very much, as always, making us a part of your day, part of your routine, for saying yes to me on the show. If you see me, please say hi. If you need anything else around your New Orleans Saints in between these episodes, make sure you follow me on your favorite social media at Ross Jackson, NOLA. Hit me up. Let me know what the family's doing. Let me know how you living. Let me know how your mom and them. And trust Who Dat Nation. I'll holla at you.